Yeah. And we are going to look the article about social problems. And so before we start reading, let us look at the pictures, and we should decide which social problems they show. So you can see in picture A, where is this person? Yes, so he is homeless. So the problem is homelessness, sleeping rough, when people don't they don't work, they don't have homes, and they sleep out of doors. Well, picture B, what kind of problem is it?
Poverty.
Poverty, yes, and people.
Accommodation.
People live in just cramped condition. So this is like overloaded conditions, and they don't have enough space just for each person. In picture C, what is she doing? What is the problem?
Smoking.
Smoking.
Yes, and you know that it's not only a problem of the person who smokes, but also people living so together with this person, because it just affects the other people too. And in the last picture,
The kids eating junk food.
fatty food, just rich in saturated fats. And what does it lead to? What is the result if people eat
Obesity.
a lot of obesity, overweight? Right. Well, and now let us start. There is some information about the words that we are going to find in the text. So let us just focus on them. Deprivation. Here, you know, when the people are deprived of something, of money, for example. So this is poverty in this context. Factors are here in this article. This is about causes, incidents, occurrence. So and then plateau. You know, plateau, if we speak about mountains, this is the mountain. So with just a big place of the same level. But if we speak about, for example, statistics and graphs that show some process, it means a level which doesn't change, like it goes up, for example, and then there is a plateau. And so the next word is pronounced, like evident. And the phrase social classes 1 and 2. So this term is used in statistics, for example, in the classification of the population for research purposes. These are the two highest social classes. So with the highest income paid, so high salaries. And well, the article. So let us listen to. Let us start with Shema. Shema, start reading, please.
Yes. Social deprivation is associated with death from all causes. The most pronounced effect is with circulatory and other smoking-related diseases. A similar trend is seen with infant mortality, morbidity from chronic illness, particularly musculoskeletal cardiovascular and respiratory conditions, and teenage pregnancy.
Mhm. Okay, so there is information about diseases and about some trends connected with mortality. Here there is the picture that illustrates, gives definition to morbidity and mortality. Morbidity means a proportion of illness in a population. So it means how many percent of people are ill, yes. And mortality, this is also proportion, some incidence of deaths in a population. So they look very similar, morbidity and mortality. Well, I think the rest is clear. So there are medical terms like circulatory diseases, musculoskeletal, cardiovascular, respiratory conditions, you know them. Well, and let us move to the next slide and listen to Nisanur.
Wait, I need to move. Okay. This is not a new problem, nor one unique to the UK. It may partly be due to smoking and eating habits, but this disparity was evidenced 80 years ago when one of those social classes, 1 and 2, were more likely to smoke, eat foods with high saturated fats, and take less exercise. Disparity in health is closely related to income. In the UK, how do I say it? Like,
so this arrow shows up. It means does it grow or goes down?
what majority?
And if it is an adjective, so proportion. What's the trend? How can we describe the trend up?
Increasing.
Yes, an increased
Okay.
proportion.
Increased proportion of the population is now living on less than 50% of average income than 20 years ago. The mortality gap has grown proportionately.
Good. So we can see there is information about the events in the past and about those high classes that they used to smoke and just eat a lot of fatty food. Okay, and now let us just go on and listen to Akram. Akram, hello.
Should I have to read it?
So start reading, please.
So this has an impact on general practice. There's a higher incidence of illness, requirement for primary care team services, and the use of out of hours and A&E services amongst the private communities.
And these arrows, so Nisanur has already told us that so this arrow that shows points up, this is increased, yes? So, and it means, Akram, what kind of requirement? Increased requirement.
Increased requirements.
And the increased use. And this arrow that shows the points to the right. So it means like higher incidence of illness leading to increased requirement for primary care team services. And so the abbreviation A&D, what does it mean? What do the letters stand for? A&D services. What kind of service is it? This is medical service, right? so that the service that is available in case of what? What kind of cases? Who remembers A and D? So we just mentioned this abbreviation several times. This is in case of emergency. This is accident and emergency services, right? Well, if we move to the next slide, let us listen to Yahya to read. Yahya, please.
Other factors which have an effect are homelessness, sleeping, low employment and unemployment, divorce and immigration status, the adverse effect of living and temporary accommodation are well documented. For example, adults have increased incidence of depressions and people of similar social standing and their own homes.
Good. So here the factors that influence the life of people: homelessness, sleeping rough, so employment, unemployment. So you see, when people can't find jobs, this is called unemployment. Divorce, what does it mean? Divorce, Yahya, do you understand this? Divorce.
Divorce, it's like worse.
Sorry, will you repeat, please?
Worse.
Getting worse, divorce getting worse. When people are married and then they decide to live separately, this is divorce. And immigration status, when people move from one country to another, and if they come to a foreign country, they are immigrants, and so they don't have anything, and that is why there are a lot of problems. They live in temporary accommodation, and so the effect of these conditions is depression. So, and well, if we have a look at the next slide, it's Mustafa Sabir's turn. Mustafa, read it, please.
Children are less likely to receive their immunization, more likely to have childhood accidents, and have a higher incidence of manure and diarrheal diseases. Among those sleeping rough, poor diet, poor accommodation, and the lack of access to medical services are universal problems. A study done in 1986 in London found 1/3 are psychotic. Quarter have several physical problems, and 2/3 have no contact whatsoever with medical service. Evidence shows that if services are provided, homeless people will use them.
Thank you. Good. So the problems with children, like they do not get any immunization, vaccination, accidents, and so poor diet, no medical services, and so they suffer from psychological problems like they are psychotic, and so they also suffer from physical problems, and so they need medical help. And let us look at the last part of the story of the article, and let us listen to Mustafa Ahmed. Mustafa Ahmed.
Okay, doctor. Okay. The effects of work, the effects of work have been compared to effects of vitamins. We need a creatine amount to be healthy. Then there is a picture where extra doesn't work, and too much is harmful.
Mhm. So work is compared to vitamins. So if we don't work, it's hard to be fit. We should work, but not too much, because there is a plateau. So if we work a lot, it means the correlation with health is not so straightforward. We are not healthy because of too much work. So it's harmful. And the picture illustrates like we should find this balance between work and leisure time. So we should there should be some equity in work and life. Well, so this is the information about the social factors that can influence practice, doctor's practice. And there are some questions here. And let us listen to Hashim Hassan. Are you here, Hassan?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
Please read the first question.
What main social factors are given?
Mhm.
Homeless and fatty food
Okay.
and divorce
Yes.
and smoking
Exactly. Okay.
and one minute, doctor. Homeless.
Where do people live? What kind of accommodation they have?
Can you repeat, doctor? Sorry.
What kind of accommodation do people live in?
Accommodation people.
Accommodation?
Divorce.
No, I mean the place where they live. So
The place we live.
yes, the flats, the houses, overcrowded accommodation, right?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, good. So
Okay.
Hassan, good answer.
Thank you.
And now let us just listen to Mohammad Hassan answering the second question.
Can you give your one response how this and social classes in I-12 were more likely to smoke 18 years ago? 18 years ago, tobacco was fashionable and more affordably for this in her bid jobs.
Yes, actually, it's right. It's more. It was affordable and it was popular, right? And only so the people with the high income could afford it.
Yes.
And so, but what has changes nowadays? Is it acceptable to smoke now? Do people find it fashionable now, smoking? Hassan. Nisanur, please. Nisanur?
Now looking at like the like baby boomers and Generation Y, they have like came to terms with smoking being bad, but some of them are still like habitually smoking it. But I'm looking at like Gen Z and people my age. They've been doing it for just the fashion, being an anarchist or like being different than others or not listening to your parents' words are like seems to be what's popular these days. But when you look outside or like look at them, they are the same. Like like not
History.
smoking or not drinking anything like that when you're underage seems to be like the new cool thing actually.
Exactly.
The norm is that everyone smokes, everyone drinks.
Mhm. But so in the past, the people didn't know about the impact of this habit to health. So now when we know, when we are aware of this, so people start taking care of their health, and they
It was more like an accessory back then, like looking at 50s you know, like Hollywood movies and stuff, like Audrey Hepburn, her long cigarette pipe.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah, it's stylish and like fashionable. Yes, but nowadays, so even in Hollywood films, so it is banned to just to show the people smoking if it is not connected with some historical events. Okay, Nisanur, thank you. And Sheima, what do you think of question 3?
What reasons could you give for increased incidence of depression in the people living in temporary, maybe living under stress?
What kind of stress? Why are they stressed?
Because they are not sure where are they going to live tomorrow.
Exactly.
So they are in danger of being homeless anytime. So that's why they become depressed.
Good. Yes, great. Thank you. And let us listen to Akram now. The fourth question is for you. Akram?
Is poor diet a problem among the sleeping of?
So, sleeping rough for people who do not have the place to sleep. They are homeless people. So why do they have a poor diet?
Because they have lack of plants, fish, vegetables, for example, or they don't have any fixed routines.
Yes, they do not work, they do not have cooking facilities, right? And so they well, can't afford healthy food, they can't go to a restaurant and so buy something like healthy food in supermarkets, so they just consume what they can afford. Yes, and as a doctor, you should be aware of these factors, and if you should understand the social status of a person and the problems which are associated with this status. Well, and yes, this is we've done with the article, and now let us focus on the home assignment. On the Moodle site, there is the folder with presentation, PowerPoint, you can find it there. And there is the folder with the video task. So what does it mean, video task? If you click on this line, you can find 2 files attached to this folder. So one of them is the video file, MP4, and you should watch it. There is a conversation between a patient and a nurse. She's taking a medical history, and the patient is answering her questions. And there is the second folder, the second file here in this folder. So the text document, you should also, well, download it, and there is the task on listening, so you should complete the gaps with what was said in this conversation. And so then you should write it and so upload the PDF in the form of the PDF file to the Moodle site. So is the task clear?
Yes.
Well, and the deadline for this task is Friday. Well,